Welcome to the Steamy Machine Podcast. With your hosts, Dalton and Ryan.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Steamy Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me as always is my good buddy.
This is Ryan.
And man, what a fucking few days it's been. You had no power. Today, I have no water.
Right.
Fucking rough, man. It's
Yeah.
rough out here in the sticks. Well, I guess it's not the sticks for you, but anyways. Yeah, man, so we are happy to be back with you this week with our Final Fantasy XII wrap-up video. But before we get to that, there was a lot of fucking news stuff that stuck out to me personally. So I pulled up some of them just to kind of bring them up. First thing was I watched that Nintendo Direct. And if you would like to hear me and our guest today, who we will be throwing to the interview I did with him here in a little bit, our buddy James on the JRPG Report, I guested on his show, and we covered all the JRPG goodness that came out of the Nintendo Switch. Or not the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Direct. But a few things that I will cover here because they are coming to PC as well is The Legend of Mana HD, or Mana, however you want to say it. HD remaster is coming to Steam.
Yeah.
Which is cool. That is technically the sequel to Trials of Mana because the original Mana games came out on Super Nintendo, I believe. I think the first one might have been Game Boy. But then the one everybody knows, which is The Legend of Mana, Secret of Mana, is Super Nintendo. And then Seiken Densetsu 3, which was later released over here as Trials of Mana, was also Super Nintendo. And now, the updated version's obviously on PC, PS4, all that good stuff. But now we get The Legend of Mana, which was a PS1 game. And they've remastered it. It looks really good. The sprite work is fantastic. And it is coming soon. I look forward to that. You've probably never played much of that series, have you?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I didn't think so. Something that you may be more familiar with is also coming to PC in June, and that is the Ninja Gaiden series.
Nice.
Which, those look really good. I played some of them back in the day. They're incredibly hard. Just like Tenchu was incredibly hard.
Yeah.
But it's going to be Ninja Gaiden Sigma, Ninja Gaiden Sigma 2, and Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge. Those will be the collection. Wow. So I look forward to that, man. Diving back into those games. It's been years since I played those.
I saw some news about Twisted Metal show in development. It got me thinking. I was like, I really want to play those games again. Are they on Steam, or have they been ported to PC yet?
No, sir. But I could hook you up with an emulator that would run them.
Oh, yeah.
So don't worry about it. We'll get that covered.
Right.
Maybe that could be a Patreon thing. We'll emulation month or something, and we'll just have a game that we play over the course of the month that we emulate.
Yeah.
So we could talk about how well it is, and I don't know. But that way on Patreon, not everybody will hear it, so maybe we won't get hit with a fucking cease and assist.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, that show apparently is being made by the people who did Deadpool. So
nice.
It should be pretty damn good. I really enjoyed the Deadpool movie. I never saw the second one. Been meaning to, though. There was a developer on Steam that was being sneaky, and they had named themselves Very Positive. Right, so when people would glance up, they would see that Very Positive and think that that's the rating for the game. And they got the boot. Steam kicked them off. They were like, nah, get the fuck out of here with that shit. And they got rid of him. And then
just for his handle?
I mean, it wasn't a handle. It was a game developer that was releasing games. And
oh, yeah, no, F that.
Yeah, they were just being sneaky.
Unless those games were super uplifting and super motivational and inspirational,
I didn't look into it because obviously it's gone now, but I doubt it was.
Yeah.
For some reason, I doubt it was. On the topic of Steam too, Apple subpoenaed Steam or Valve. I'm sorry, they subpoenaed Valve as part of this whole fucking legal battle with Epic.
Yeah.
And Valve's fighting back, man. They're just basically like, nah, get the fuck out of here. Like, don't bring us into y'all's fucking conflict.
Yeah. Y'all handle your own shit.
What else did I see? I'm getting all this from PCGamer.com, by the way. So if anybody wants to go and read up more on these articles, feel free to. A game that's on our list and I have loved for a long time, No Man's Sky. You are now being able to tame alien creatures and keep them as pets.
Yeah, I saw that, and I gotta reload it up. I've missed so many of the past few updates. I really gotta get back into it.
They're also adding to where you can breed them and make new creatures and things like that, which is pretty sweet.
Nice.
Like, what a game that has become from the launch, where people were just so distraught.
I'm waiting for them to get to the point where they start having, like, season events where there's going to be, like, one season, like, a galactic war breaks out in the galaxy that you're currently in, or, like, you start seeing updates where, like, some planets are just giant metropolis planets. It's, like, just one giant city and shit like that.
That would be pretty sweet. They have something kind of like that where there's like community event quest things where you can get a special currency for doing that stuff. But they haven't done anything quite to the scale of what you're talking about.
Yeah. But Fortnite does a pretty good job with those like season long events. Like the Marvel event they did and shit like that. So I could see something similar adopted for No Man's Sky.
Yeah, as long as they keep adding things that keeps the game interesting, people are going to keep loving it.
Yeah, and it's people are slowly coming back to it after finding out about all these updates and shit. And like the game they promised us, it didn't come out at launch, and it pissed off a lot of people. But it's slowly becoming the game they promised us. And
I know. Go ahead.
It's gonna last forever. It's gonna be one of those games.
I know Dan from Factory Sealed really shit on that game when it first came out, but now he will even admit that it's not the game for him. Like, he's tried to play it and he doesn't really enjoy it, but he admits that it is nowhere near as shit as it was when it came out.
Yeah.
It has improved a lot, which made me happy because I was the one in that group always touting for No Man's Sky when everybody else was taking a big hot steamy dump on it.
I remember me and you used to play it all the time. Like, even after everyone shit on it, like, gave up on it after 1 week.
Yeah, I think that's there was a time where there was one active player on Steam for it.
Yeah, that's what you were saying before.
That's sad. But I'm glad it's kicked back. Civilization 6 is getting an update that you can now talk to barbarians instead of just having to attack them. So you could possibly like persuade them to join you or make peace treaties, like that kind of thing. I thought that was pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
Amazon is releasing a new MMO called New World, which I think is strange, but I mean, if anybody's got the money to do an MMO, Amazon does.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I didn't find too much like diving into it, but it should be out later this year.
That's how they're gonna take over the world. One MMO account at a time.
The biggest thing for me came out during BlizzCon this week, and that is that they are doing a remastered Diablo 2 Resurrected. And I could not be more excited because I fucking love Diablo 2.
Yeah.
So much fun.
Is that because of the ties of Lilith with the new one coming out? Isn't Lilith a heavy part of 2?
I think I remember her being in 2. I don't know. It's been a long time since I played it, but I'm pretty sure. But I'm thinking they're doing it because Diablo 4 is nowhere near release. You know what I mean? And like they're just kind of giving people something to play in the meantime. Yeah. So why not hit that nostalgia? But man, I mean personally, like I said, I'm fucking looking forward to it. I'm also stoked for Diablo 4. Like that's just one of my favorite series. Yeah. I love the dungeon crawling, hack and slash, click around, fuck everything up. It's wonderful. Oh, speaking of hack and slashes, I added a new game to our list. And
did you?
I did it strictly because I thought, you know what, Ryan is probably going to really enjoy this, right? It's called Damascus Gear Operation Osaka HD Edition, and it is a mech hack and slash.
Nice.
And I was like, That sounds pretty rad.
That does sound pretty rad.
And then shout out to John from Tadpog Group. He had some Humble Bundle keys that he didn't want, and I got Valkyria Chronicles 4 Complete Editions. So shout out to him for that.
Nice.
Also added something that I don't know if we'll do for the show, but it's a game called Learning Programming, Python. So apparently as you play it, it teaches you the Python programming system.
Oh, that's cool.
And Persona 5 Strikers came out.
And of course you got that.
Oh, I had it pre-ordered, son.
Yeah, of course you did.
And it is fun as fuck.
Yeah.
Super smooth gameplay. You're gonna really like it. If you liked that Hyperdimension Neptunia hack and slash, this is another level.
Yeah.
It's gonna be really, really fun. Nvidia is releasing a new graphics card, by the way. I brought this up to Dave last night when we were all playing Valheim, which I will get to Valheim in a second because we need to talk about Valheim. But their new graphics card that's coming out has a cryptocurrency mining limiter on it.
Oh, I saw that.
And I am completely behind this because getting a graphics card has become damn near fucking impossible.
Yeah.
They all sell out, and it's because these people that are buying 10 to 20 of them at a time and being they're just using them to mine crypto, and then they burn those out and they buy more. That's how it works.
Yeah, they're either mining crypto or they're scalping them.
Yeah, that too. And they're probably scalping them to people who are getting them for crypto. Yeah. I mean, it's become a ridiculous thing. I get that cryptocurrency is awesome and all, but stay the fuck away from my PC parts.
Right.
Get your own shit. If there was a company that started up and they released graphics cards, quote unquote, that were specifically for cryptocurrency mining, they would make a fucking fortune.
Yeah, they would.
Yeah, we should look into that. Copyright Steam Machine Podcast.
Right. You heard it here first.
You heard it here. But yeah, so I kudos to them for doing that. I look forward to it. Eventually, when I upgrade, I'll probably try to shoot for one of those, just because they'll probably be more plentiful.
I'm waiting on tax time.
Something that you wouldn't care about, but I know some of our listeners might since they're PC players. World of Warcraft Classic is getting Burning Crusade servers this year, so they are going into the very first expansion that they ever released.
Yeah.
This gives me hope that 10 years from now, there will be World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic servers, and I can go remake my Holy Paladin that was unkillable in PvP and arenas, and I can relive my glory days. Because as soon as Mist of Pandaria came out and they switched all the skill trees around and they put a mana cap, fucked it up completely and it no longer was any good. And now in the game, the spell that I used to use that would make me top heals and top DPS is not even in the game anymore.
Wow.
R.I.P. Exorcism.
Yeah.
Holy Paladin's best spell, in my opinion. What was great about it, I know you didn't really play much World of Warcraft, if at all, but I had it basically set up, all my gear, all my glyphs, all of that shit, to where I had over 1 million MP. I had really high defense, and my exorcism spells cast time was less than a second.
Jesus
or it was
Christ.
a little over a second. It was down to as short as possible, right?
Yeah.
And I had it to where it would crit, and it would crit often, and it would crit hard. So I would just start spam casting that at people, and it didn't cost a lot of mana, so I never ran out of mana. And it would hit them, and most times they would start running towards me, and before they got to me, I would kill them. But if they got to me and started hitting me, I could use Bubble, which makes you, which takes damage for you, and then I could heal myself, and then keep spamming Exorcism at them. And then when my Bubble went down, guess what I could do? Pop another one, and I would have Bubble again. So it was like no one could kill me unless you were really good.
Yeah.
And I fucking thoroughly enjoyed it. But like I said, Mist of Pandaria came out, and while I loved Mist of Pandaria as an expansion, I hated what it did to the gameplay as far as PvP goes. But the other side of it, the PvE stuff, was phenomenal. I really liked it. Which brings me to... Oh, real quick. If you get a Far Cry 6 beta email, it's a phishing scam. So don't click it. Anybody that's listening, Ubisoft has put out there that they are not sending out emails for beta tests, so don't fall for it. Which brings me to Valheim. surely you have at least read something about Valheim in the past like week.
I've seen like links for a couple of articles, but busy at work and shit. So
it is a like survival, crafting RPG type game, right?
Okay.
And you play as Vikings. You're Vikings, and it is fucking phenomenal, bro.
Yeah.
It sold 3 million copies in less than 3 weeks.
Wow. That's actually really good.
It was second only to Counter-Strike Go, as it broke over 500,000 peak players at one time.
Wow.
And dude, it is so good. I spent like hours playing with people from Tadpog. I think it was me, Catchpenny, Paulsh, Dave, and Zal. And
Is this on Steam?
yeah. And I highly dude, it's like $20. You should totally buy it so we could play it together.
Yeah.
It's really fun. I was like, Catchpenny had been posting stuff in the Tadpog Discord about it, and I was like, all right, that game looks cool. I'll snag it when it gets on sale or something. And then I saw a Reddit article, and this Reddit article was like, I was out sailing the sea in my Viking ship and ended up getting into a battle with a giant sea serpent. And right then, I went and bought the game. Because I was like, that sounds fantastic.
Right. That sounds awesome.
And I think it was, man, I don't remember how they described it last night because it was perfect. But the game's graphics, they look like a PS2 game in some spots. And then in other spots, like the lighting and stuff looks phenomenally good. So it's a really interesting graphical style. I'm really enjoying it. The developers were saying that like Zelda and Skyrim influenced them more for this game than all of these other survival crafting games that have come out.
Interesting.
Like at the core, they wanted it to be like, yeah, you have to craft and survive and build a hut and all of that, but they still want you to have fun. So like they want you to go out and hunt and fight. There's bosses that you can kill, and when you kill the bosses, you gain access to crafting some new stuff, and there's dungeons that you can stumble upon and go in and clear out. It's really, really cool.
That's cool.
So
I'm definitely going to get that as soon as I get
anybody who's interested, yeah, definitely pick up Valheim. Come join us. It's great. There's going to be another Steam festival in June. And that's usually when they like announce some new games coming out. A lot of indie developers, that's when they release their new stuff, demos for new things that are coming. I think it's some of the new, like something like, I think it was earlier this month? No, I think it was earlier in the year. There was a winter event, and there was like 500 new demos added to Steam.
Damn.
So there's no telling what's going to happen in June. It'll be between June 16th and June 22nd. So there's that to look forward to. And that might be around the same time that Steam does their next big sale, because they usually do really big sales around those times.
Yeah, they usually do.
Well, the only other news thing that I have here, and I picked this out just for you and your lady, because I feel like this game would be right up y'all's alley. There is a new horror game coming out, and you play as a cat named Biscuit.
Fantastic.
And from what I'm gathered, it says, waking up in the midst of a stormy night, a gray feline named Biscuit finds his mom nowhere in sight. So it basically, the game is feel what it's like to be Biscuit as he searched for his owner through the memories he has clung on to.
That sounds sad.
Yeah, dude, it sounds fucking
crazy. And it's a horror game, so I can't even imagine what may be like. No, I want to be a cat. I just want like a cat simulator. Like,
there probably is a cat. In fact,
there probably is.
I know. I think it was on PS4. Yeah, it might be on the computer. There's a game called Cat Lateral Damage, and like you just play as a cat and try to cause as much commotion as possible, like knocking things off tables.
Fantastic.
Well, let's take a quick moment and throw over to my past self with the interview with James, and then we will be back to me and Ryan, and we will wrap up our thoughts on Final Fantasy XII and find out what we're playing next week. So, what is it in Wayne's World? All right, everybody, and for this segment, I have brought along a buddy of mine. You have probably already heard me and Ryan talking, but this is earlier in the day, and Ryan is busy at the moment with kiddos and such. But I hit up our buddy, who is what I consider our JRPG expert for the show, and it is our good buddy James from the JRPG Report. How you doing, buddy?
I am excellent, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, I figured that I would bring you in because who better to talk to about the Final Fantasy series than the guy that I talk to and listen to every week for my JRPG news.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm sure there's a million people that you should probably talk to, but I will gladly fill the void for you.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get your show plugged, man. I know everybody's heard me mention it before, but the JRPG Report, awesome podcast, comes out weekly. Always get my JRPG news from there, and I always make sure to try to plug you on the show if I talk about things that I heard on the podcast. You also do a YouTube stream, correct?
Yeah, and I appreciate it as always, buddy. We in addition to the weekly podcast, I'll make a video version for YouTube. But yeah, anytime there's any JRPG trailer that comes out, I steal it and I repost it on YouTube for everybody to see in one place. But yeah, I do nightly streams. So like right now we're playing through Atelier Ryza 2. We're nearly at the end, but then when Persona 5 Strikers comes out, earlier this year we did Royal and, just whatever. If I got a few extra bucks, I can get a new game. I'd stream every night, something going on. And little channel's growing into something pretty cool. We got fun chats going on during the live stream, so I encourage everybody to come up. It's usually about 10 o'clock at night, so just search JRPG Report on YouTube.
And that's 10 o'clock Eastern time, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. I always feel I forget there's a rest of the world out there that doesn't know what that means.
Brother, me too. Me too. Like, I'll be watching somebody on Twitch, and they'll be like, all right, it's about midnight, I'm wrapping up, and I'll look at my clock, it's 3 a.m., and I'm like... Oh yeah, that's right. It's different there. But Speaking of Persona 5 Strikers,
you might have an opinion on that.
I got to dive into it a little bit. I haven't played much of it yet because I was really, really focused on beating 12 and getting all of the hunts. But I did dive into it a little bit, and I will say, immediately, you are going to probably feel like I did, where I was like, my fucking friends are back.
Okay.
It was such a cool feeling. And getting to see everyone again, it takes place, a little time after Persona 5. And I've done a little bit of the battle mechanics, man. And it's Persona Dynasty Warriors. It's wonderful. That's
very good news. That's what I think we're all hoping for. And yeah, I mean, it's like 6 months, I believe, after the conclusion of Persona 5. To be, does that? It's weird because it doesn't have anything to do with Royal. They're assuming that didn't happen. I don't know what's going on with that, but so my biggest fear was this was going to be like Dragon Quest Heroes, which is one of my favorite. Dragon Quest is one of my favorite games, and they made a warrior style offshoot, but it was kind of hot garbage. So.
I downloaded one of those just to try it out before I buy it, kind of thing. And it was kind of slow for a Warriors type game.
Super slow, which I didn't think you could get slower than turn-based, but they managed to with an action system.
Which, I mean, when we played Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action Unleashed, God, that's such a mouthful. When we played that, it's a little bit of a slower hack and slash, but I expected that because it's a AA game. It's not fully funded like Square Enix can do. And then when I played the Dragon Warriors game, or what was it? Dragon Quest Heroes is what they call it.
Yeah,
right?
well, they made 2 of them.
Yeah, that's it. So obviously people liked it enough to warrant a sequel. Though I say that, and then we got 313s. So.
Yes, exactly. I did like the way you called Hyperdimension Utopia more than a mouthful. That is a perfect description for those games.
Yeah, every single one, except maybe like Super Neptunia RPG. Like that's the easiest one to say, probably.
Oh no, you didn't get my innuendo there.
Oh, okay. No, I got you now. Yeah, especially Vert.
I thought I was on one of those podcasts that we could make those kind of jokes.
You're right. You're right. Big old titty.
There you go. Now I know where I am.
Yeah, dude. Especially Vert in that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, for sure. And one of the funny things, I know you don't have much experience in them. One of the funny things in that game is Noir, Blonde, who represents the Nintendo series. They always get on her for not having that much of a chest, but she tries hard, right?
Aww.
Which I always equate it to like GPU power. You know what I mean? Like, Vert represents Xbox, so she's the bustiest of the crew. And Noir gets, or not Noir, damn it, I keep saying that. Noir represents PlayStation. Blonde gets so mad when you try to tell her that, like, what do you mean? I'm just as good. I don't need him, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow. No, it is a series. Like I said, I think we were talking the other day. Like, I know I had this on my Vita, the one that they're remaking, however you say that. So, yeah, I got a few hours into it, but my Vita is, I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but, like, I can't get the thing to charge with the cable. Like, the charge port is super loose. And I've actually opened my Vita up to try to, like, tighten all that going on. It's just, I don't know. I do more harm than good when I do stuff like that, though.
I know how you feel there, man. I have this Xbox controller that I took apart just because one of the buttons was sticking. Mm-hmm. And when I took it and I pulled the faceplate off, like, all of the buttons fell out of it. So I then had to put it all back together. And I got it to work. The controller still sticks a little bit, but not as bad as before.
That's not good. That's not what you want to do.
I ended up just ordering a new controller because I was like, well, this is the last time I spend $20 on a controller. I'm going to actually get one that's decent.
You get what you pay for.
Exactly. Now, going back to something that I had said earlier, because with there being 3 13s, now obviously we're going to eventually dive into those for the show. And I think I only own the first one. So, you know, if I don't like it, I'm not going to spend the money on the other two. But
please, I'll save you some money. Don't. But
whenever I wrapped up 12 last night, I was like, this could have been a game that would have been better expanded than 13, in my opinion, from what I've played of 13.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, they made the DS offshoot, but yeah, there was more stories that could have been told in a world that people actually cared about and wanted to visit. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, it probably won't happen anytime soon, but in my lifetime, I would love to see this get the 7 remake treatment because I feel like there's so much room to expand on the story because there's a lot going on with the Empire and then the Resistance, and it never really fleshes that out deeply.
No, that could have been a complete side story that would have been great to explore.
Yeah, for sure, man. What was your first experience with 12?
I'm glad you asked because that's where I was going to go with this anyway. So, you know, obviously you're talking about the Zodiac Age, which is its perfect form.
Not how I originally played it.
No, okay, so I would at least put on the same basis. There's, you know, back on the PS2 when it first comes out, you know, I'm assuming day one I probably stood in line at GameStop or whatever to get that. So, you know, with 12, it's such an interesting title. So if you got your PlayStation 2 and it's getting near the end of the life of it, 10 is such a great game. Do we agree on that part?
Oh, 10's fantastic.
Good. So then 11 comes out, and nobody knows what a console MMO is. We barely know what it is as far as a PC goes, at least, you know, console players like myself. And you couldn't help but feel alienated because that was my first real experience with it. I didn't want to get into it. I didn't want to pay for a game I pay each month, and, you know, internet wasn't that great back then anyway. So,
yeah.
You know, you're already feeling a little on the fence. Then 12 comes out, and as a turn-based, you know, aficionado, you could tell it wasn't, but you didn't know what it was either. It's such a weird battle system.
It was very MMO-esque. Like, I played 11, but because back then I had a character on a buddy's account, so I would, like, pay his dad the $3 or whatever it was for the extra character a month. But so I was used to that kind of thing, and let me go ahead and say, if you never played that, just real quick, Final Fantasy XI had, it's a little better about it these days, it had no respect for players' time.
That's not good.
None. And you could die and you would lose experience. So like you could level up and then die and level down.
Ooh, one of those games.
Yeah, it was brutal. But anyway, continue, sir.
But yeah, so I mean, I'll be honest. When I first played 12, I don't think I really liked it. I tried, and I'm very guilty of this. In general, is I want to play a game the way I kind of like to, and then I learned how to play it and how the game wants you to be played are two different things. And so,
yeah, for sure.
When I'm first playing it, I'm trying to play it like a turn-based RPG. I'm inputting everything manually, and of course, it's way too fast to do that. You have to
the same thing.
Okay, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. You just end up dying because it has to auto attack. You have to set up. You have to spend hours setting up your gambits, and
Absolutely.
I didn't want to do that. And it gave a bad experience.
Yeah, when I first played this, I didn't even get what the gambits were because I was young. Probably old enough to have known because, I mean, if this came out in 2006, then I was 14.
Okay.
It came out, so I probably played it around 14 or 15. But I didn't realize that how useful the gambits were until probably my second or third playthrough of the game.
Oh wow.
But take it, I never beat it back then either because I would always get to a point and be like, all right, this game is far too hard.
It is. It is impossible to play without the game playing for you, which, you say that and it's like, well, that doesn't sound like much fun. But then, so you set your gambits up for your basic stuff, and then you get to control the fun stuff. All right. That's the way I kind of finally accepted it. And, I would do all the magic, or if it wasn't, a flying enemy that you had to auto attack. But as you really accept it and get into it, the story is what really brings you into it. It is, I mean, it's been said many times before. It is Star Wars.
Oh yeah, and that was brought home to me by like the closing of the game. One of the last cutscenes is this big sky battle between these airships and stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is totally Star Wars.
Yes, in the best possible way, in a medieval type setting, which, Final Fantasy has gone back and forth several times between futuristic and old school. If you go old school back with 9, it kind of went a weird place with 10, but this one felt more like the old ones did, and I loved it because of that. It looked the part, it played it, had a lovable cast of characters. Back then, it did feel like it forced Vaughn as the main character on you, which nobody liked, but because the other characters are just so much better.
Yeah. Now, I liked Vaughn growing up. Now, these days, or when I played it this time, I could take him or leave him. Like, yeah. I knew that like his place in the story really isn't an important one. He's kind of just there.
Yeah, he's kind of just the facilitator of the beginning of it, I guess.
I read some article that was saying that Vaughn and Pinello were actually like shoehorned in after they had come up with most of the story because they wanted the kids of Shibuya and Akihabara to have a relatable character to play as, so they created the younger characters.
So they gave him a couple street rats.
Yeah.
I can see it. I mean, if you just get the 4, if you take those 2 out and you just got 4, that wouldn't be enough. So, and you talk about a game with 6 playable characters by Final Fantasy standards, that's pretty small.
Yeah, absolutely. But one thing I like is that this game went back to some of the earlier Final Fantasies. I'll use the word tropes, but I don't mean that in a negative connotation, of having political intrigue and a very political-based story where it seems like some of that has been lost in certain of the Final Fantasy games. Like, I don't think 10 was very political.
No, it was more religion-based.
Yeah. And then 13, I really don't know much about 13. Like I said, I played a little bit of it on PS3, but that was about it.
12 to me felt like 6 in terms of, your empire, your resistance, royalty, how they all mingle together with, regular everyday people. So in my mind, and that's probably why I ended up loving 12 as much as I did, because 6 is my, second favorite game of all time.
I recently added 6 to the list.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm excited to finally, or one day, dive into that.
One of these days. And I don't know how that's going to work, playing it as a 12-year-old on the Super Nintendo with those graphics is one thing. Playing it as a whatever-year-old in 2021 with those graphics may not quite have the same pull.
Yeah, we'll see. I think the one on Steam that I got is like an updated graphics version, but it's not like HDified. Like I know there's a lot of people hoping that maybe one day Final Fantasy VI will get a remaster in the vein of Octopath Traveler, which I think would be pretty cool, actually.
If they're going to do it, that's how they need to do it. I don't want to see a full remake treatment.
Yeah, I don't think it would work the same as like Trials of Mana did, which did translate pretty well. But I don't think actually I know for a fact, at least over here, Trials of Mana is nowhere near as beloved because it didn't get released over here.
Exactly. We missed out on that the first time, so we only got it recently, which was, I still need to get into that. It looks awesome. But so when you started off playing back in the day, you also were kind of the same way, like you didn't necessarily love it. You said you just didn't beat it at all back then?
Yeah, it's not that I didn't love it because I really did enjoy it. I just would get to a certain point and fall off. Like I want to say I would get to my memory when I was playing through this time. It was actually like I played more of it than I thought.
Okay.
I think when I was younger, I had gotten to Gyrovagan, which is like going into the Great Crystal.
Yes.
And I think that's where I would always fall off, is trying to navigate that, because I didn't have a map back then.
And that's the one that doesn't have one, right?
Yeah. I had to, this time running through there, I pulled up on my second monitor like a map of the place.
Okay.
So
I still played through it. Even this last time playing through it, I didn't have anything. In my opinion, that is one of the worst dungeons in JRPG history because of that.
Oh, it's brutal. It's
brutal,
so and having the you have to flip a switch and then run to try to find the gate to touch in the right time.
Oh my goodness!
If you touch the wrong gate, then you got to do it all over again.
They did not hold back on that one. The rest of the game is relatively mild. It's got plenty of mini maps, full maps. You can tell where you're going. It might have some difficulty spikes, but nothing like that.
Yeah, for sure. Now, have you played the Zodiac Age?
Oh yeah. I got it. I guess when it came out, I was very much looking forward to playing through that again. So what, 2 years ago when it re-released? I can't quite remember, but
this says release date July 11th, 2017.
Oh gosh, my time is way off. So yeah, that's when I got it.
Hey man, time flies these days.
No kidding.
Except maybe last year. Last year dragged, but
last year was like 5 years.
I really like the classes being added to it. It kind of gives the characters a little more structure. You kind of can't have a party full of jack of all trades.
No, you definitely need to have specialized roles, but you can really dig into them more. I think we were talking about like you completely changed Balthier into a completely different person, whereas I left him as kind of what he was and didn't use him except for if everybody else is dead type of deal.
Yeah.
I love that playability, and you can just have this awesome team of exactly what you want.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, that last fight with Vayne before he does his transformations and stuff, took me. Well, actually, I'll put it this way: I beat Vayne, and then I beat Vayne turning into Nethicite Vayne thing, and then I beat that cannon, all in about 5 minutes.
Wow! Yeah, you definitely were doing something right then.
Yeah, well, all my characters were max level.
Gotcha.
I had all of their license.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time grinding.
No kidding. I was nowhere near that.
But I had it in my mind, determined to beat all of the side quests. No, not the side quests, I'm sorry, the hunts. I tried to do all the side quests, but I started too late and realized I missed half of them.
Okay.
Because this is one of those games, it's like, if you don't talk to everybody, you're going to miss quests because there's no exclamation point like, hey, this person has a quest for you. It's not like that at all.
No, some of the hard. And I remember when I was playing it, I didn't get to do some of the hunts. Like you were talking about Ultima. Was it like a rank 6 or something?
Yeah, way up there.
Way up there. Whatever it was, I could not. I was able to beat the game, but I couldn't beat like the top ranked hunts. So you definitely went above and beyond on the leveling hub.
Yeah, the last hunt that I did was Yasmat.
Okay.
I think that's how you say it. I have
Who
no idea
knows?
how to actually pronounce it. Yeah. But the thing had like 50-something million HP.
Good grief.
On 4 times speed with all my gambits set up, it still took me like 10 minutes to kill it.
Wow.
And the only thing that worked was that I had everybody's gambit to throw a phoenix down, and it was like, because I know that items are quicker than magic, so
Yes.
I'm like, I stocked up on phoenix downs and I stocked up on X potions. I had 99 of each,
Oh, yes.
and at the end of the fight, I had, I think, 27 phoenix downs and about 10 X potions left.
Wow. It's so weird how they do that auto, I guess, especially like 4 times speed. That'd be incredible. I never played games like that, but yeah, that was, especially against Vayne. Yeah, that's where you stocked up all those X potions the entire game for that fight, because it was, I mean, obviously it wasn't that difficult for you, but that was a pretty tough fight. And of course, it would not be a JRPG until you fought God, right?
Yeah, exactly. It seems that's like it always leads to you fighting some sort of god.
Just a normal dude, long hair, but then he gets all buff and goes into God mode. So that's it's bound to happen.
I had this thought last night. I'm like, how come we've never gotten a JRPG where the main villain is somebody like Vaughn, right? Where you just don't expect it coming. But then I sat there and I thought about it, and I'm like, well, I guess Persona 5 kind of did that.
In a way, yeah. Not quite to the same extent, because I never liked him. But I guess Vaughn, you didn't like him either, and he could have turned into a bad guy. I see what you're saying there. But yeah, somebody that's in your party and then betrays you and ends up being the bad guy. That's pretty cool stuff.
Wasn't it Persona 5 that I guessed about that particular character, and you were like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, you totally nailed it, and I didn't want to ruin it for you.
I thought so. Yeah, I think I did that in 4 too. I'm like, I bet it's this dude. Yeah.
Yeah, you totally got 4, and that was extremely well done, because that one caught me by surprise.
Well, I don't think, man, I'm getting tongue tied. I think I only thought that in 4 because I had already played 5, and I was like, okay, I can kind of see where this is going based on knowledge from 5. So
yeah, I can see that. It was a little more of a shocker the first time you played 4.
oh yeah, I can imagine going into it blind. I would have personally probably thought it was Teddy himself, but
That was what you were assuming kind of the whole time, was there was some sort of dark side to Teddy, and he was going to end up being the bad guy somehow. Not like willingly, but just had to be type of thing.
yeah, and now he just ends up being some creepy dude. I love him to death, but he's very creepy.
He is. So who was your, I think you told me in message, but so who was your main party that you rolled with ultimately?
So when I went into the final battle, I was using Balthier, Bosch, and Ash.
Nice.
But like I said, I took the time to level everybody up, so it was kind of interchangeable. Balthier and Bosch both just did insane amounts of damage. If I would use the technique, I wanted to call it a link break for some reason. I'm like, that's not right at all. Link break's not even a thing.
No, that's like Trails talk there.
The technique expose, which lowers their defense,
Okay.
and the Zodiac gauge takes away the damage cap. Like, you don't max out at 9999.
Jeez.
So Balthier sometimes we're hitting these bosses for like 20,000 a hit.
Wow.
Because he had a great sword, and I had all of the things pumped into giving him extra battle damage.
Okay.
And just the combo that I gave him, which was Knight and Bushi, which Bushi is samurai.
Okay.
And just those combined, he was gnarly.
All I remember is Bosch was my main tank, and like I give him a hammer, and he would just hit people like 4 and 5 times and just wail on people. It was so much fun to watch.
Oh, speaking of hitting 4 or 5 times, I did take the time to steal all of the Genji armor from
from the judges?
Gilgamesh.
No, Gilgamesh. Okay.
Yeah, Gilgamesh.
That's awesome.
I haven't done the trial mode yet, but I've been meaning to go and check that out too, because apparently you can get a lot of good gear from that.
Yeah, I don't think I'd check that out. I think I just beat it, and that was on to the next one type of deal, which is what I usually do with games. I'm very bad. Like, I think I talked about in that one last mailbag. Like, they're like, which game do you want to go back and replay, or how do you do it? I was like, I usually beat a game and I'm done with it. Like, I don't replay games very often or do extra stuff. I don't know what that is. I guess your thing is you don't beat games. And my thing is I just get done with it. I don't care about, platinums or doing all the extra side stuff. I just kind of want to be on to the next one a lot of times.
Yeah, I can't say I blame you. I think it's Eric from Factory Sealed says that too, that like, if he plays a game and he beats it, then he's like, well, I'm done with that. Even if DLC comes out, he's like, well, I don't really know if I feel like going back and playing that. I mean, it would have to take, I guess, special DLC to get you guys to go and play another round of it. Yeah, I mean, there's a few of them that I have. Obviously, with Zodiac Age, I played the game again, so it's not like it's impossible. But I don't know. It's just something as us as gamers. Usually I've got something, coming in the mail, another game and where I stream them now, it's like I almost need to do that. I guess it's a weird thing. I don't like being feeling like forced to do something, but that's what I want to do as well. Yeah. Well, I mean, dude, if it's what you enjoy, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know. It is enjoyable. Like, you've even popped on there a couple times to the comment. There's always some crazy conversation either about the game or JRPGs, or we get off topic every once in a while, but it's kind of fun to sit there relaxing at the end of the night and talking with some, like-minded individuals. Yeah, I think last time I popped in, people were discussing Dark Souls. Oh, yeah, I banned them all immediately from the room. There's a big plot by our buddy Hans to get you to play some Dark Souls, man. It's going to be one of those Let's Play torture segments, I believe, but... it'll happen one of these days. Like I said, once I get the PS3 running, I've got... Which one is it? Not Dark Souls. What's the other? Demon Souls. I've got it on PS3, so I could do one of those type of deals. Just got to get, all the things working right. I've heard that Demon Souls is even harder, so I wish you luck, good sir. Sweet. That's exactly what I want to hear. Yeah, that's the game that started it all. So, if you had to say, besides JRPGs, what are some of your favorite Western RPGs? Because I know we've got a bunch of those on the list too. There's one. Oh, okay. What is it? Is Dragon Age. That's the only other series that I really care about. I got in with 2 and Origins, and then Inquisition, right? Yeah. Nobody expects to smash Inquisition. Exactly. I adore the storytelling in those games. The battle system is pretty good. I wouldn't say it's great, but like the choices that you can make in those games, in particular with the last one, the graphics are phenomenal as well. But that's it. Like, I want to get in. I've got Witcher 3, so it's going to be one of those eventually that I do. But I could care less about any other Western RPGs. Yeah, I know you're not an Elder Scrolls fan. I will say, dude, The Witcher 3 is phenomenal. If you like good storytelling, whenever you finally decide to chip into that, I think you'll really enjoy it. I never heard a single person talk ill of it, and I know it's not connected. They're based on the books, but I did watch the Netflix series and loved every second of that. So I can only imagine. So good. That was such a good show. It really was, and they really need season 2 to come out as soon as possible. Yes, please. I've been waiting with bated breath. But yeah, man. Dragon Age is really, really good. I also the first one that I played was 2. Okay. Yeah, that was so good. Everyone I think it's really good too, and that seems to be like a decisive opinion on the internet. Is people love it or they absolutely hate it. Really? I thought the division was with Inquisition, that most people didn't like it. There's that too. Everyone they compare them both to Origins, and it's like, I don't know, game series evolve over time, and from what I played of Origins, it's fun, but I thought that the combat in 2 was way smoother. Yeah, you know what I mean? But I think people were upset because a lot of 2 takes place in one big city. Okay, yeah. Whereas like the other games, you're exploring different regions and stuff. I get that. I didn't like any one more than the other. I enjoyed them all pretty equally. Of course, I was back on PS3, so we're talking. It's been a while, but yeah,
yeah, no, I really, I don't. Is there any other ones you would? I mean, I know you're an Elder Scrolls guys, but that's not going to happen. So,
Well, I'm curious if you like Dragon Age. Did you ever give Mass Effect a try?
I did not. I like Mass Effect and Fallout, like those shooter hybrid games. I really have no interest in. Like, I won't even play like Valkyria Chronicles. So that just doesn't do anything for me.
It's funny you mentioned that. I just had a buddy of mine give me Valkyria Chronicles 4 because he had an extra code for it.
Okay.
So
I've heard that game is worth giving away, so that might be why.
it's a possibility.
The other ones were much better from my understanding.
I like the art style.
The art's beautiful. I love it too.
Other than that, I really don't know much about it.
But no, I don't like. I think I tried Fallout 3 for about 5 minutes and was shooting things and body parts for damage. Like, nah, not for me.
It's not for everybody. I'll give you that. Some Western RPG. Well, I think it's a Japanese-made game, but it's like a Western RPG. Have you tried Dragon's Dogma?
Yeah, oh yeah. I don't know if you. I guess you haven't heard me gush about my love for Dragon's Dogma.
I guess I have not.
Yeah, I played it on PS3 and then bought it again on PS4 and loved it. That game is so much fun.
Yeah, I have enjoyed the time I put in with it on PS3. Another one of those games that I never beat, but it's because I would just roam around and kill stuff. And I remember the fast traveling system being very much a pain in the ass in that game.
It was, yeah. You and your pawn out there just roaming around for ages. It gets dark and it gets scary. Like, I love those type of games where you really get that sense of danger. And very few games, I think, are able to pull that off.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you have a giant troll coming at you and you have to climb up him to kill him, yeah, it could put you into some danger.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say the only knock on that game is it is a bit fugly, but I like the gameplay enough to where I don't care.
Yeah, I'll give you that. It's got some weird character animations to it, especially like when you're recruiting other people's pawns. Like some people just make them look absolutely ridiculous.
But that's part of the humor. But just the textures are a little bit muddy at times, and a lot of browns, and just not the best looking game ever. But I never held that against it.
Yeah, but it's not something I would have expected from Capcom really either.
Not at all. No.
Some other RPG, Fable is really good. The Fable series, although I'm sure you've had to have played at least one of them, right?
I think it was Fable 2 when I had an Xbox for a minute, and that actually was a lot of fun. Like breaking into people's houses and getting arrested. That's always good times.
Yeah.
I'm used to being allowed to just have free reign in people's houses and loot them, and now people call the cops on me. I don't understand.
Well, you'll like The Witcher because you can take anything that's not bolted down really in that game.
Okay, and I will. So
the other series that I think I would suggest to you would probably be Divinity.
Okay,
and certain divinities like maybe Original Sin 2, and I personally love Divinity 2 Eco Draconis is what it was called. Mm-hmm. Nowadays I think it's Divinity 2 Developer's Cut is the one that you can get. The cool mechanic to this game for me is that you get this part of you that can I guess you're like not like Dragonborn, but almost like that. Where like basically you can run at a certain point in the game and jump off a cliff and hit a button, and your dude does a flip in the air and turns into a dragon, and then you can fly.
What? That sounds awesome.
It's wicked, dude.
That's not what I expect in that type of games. That's pretty cool.
And it's one of the better stories in a game that I've played with a twist that you most definitely will not see coming.
Okay.
Even if I tell you there's a twist, you still won't see it coming.
I've got a buddy of mine, and he's like-minded with us in JRPGs, and I think that was his most played game of last year, even more than like Remake. I mean, he put a ton of time in it, but it was like 200 hours or something into that game. I was like, good grief. I didn't think it was that long, but...
Which one did he play? Original
I think it was.
Sin?
I think it was whatever. Is that on PS4?
The ones on PS4 would be Original Sin 1 and 2. So if he was playing Original Sin 2, I don't blame him because that's the type of game that you can play over and over with different play styles.
And I may give that one a shot if I see it on sale somewhere. Yeah.
But I don't want to keep you too long, man. So I'll ask you, in your pantheon of Final Fantasy games, where do you think 12 would fall for you?
I think it deserves to be near the top For me, it's 6. Obviously, is number 1, and then I kind of got 9 and 10, probably just above 12, but it's top 5 easy for me. Like I said, it surprised me so much because I did not like it at first, and the more time you put into it, and the more you allow the game to play how it's supposed to be played, it is a romp. If you got to get over the auto attack stuff, and that was hard for me to do at first. But once you get your gambit set up and you allow the story to be experienced, and like going into the caves, what is that city called?
Well, you got Jahara near the. Let's talk about the Saturnian caverns.
Yeah, I mean, just all of like the caves feel like caves, and the desert. You feel like you're really out in the desert. Like they did a great job with the environments, the forest levels. You feel like you can get lost in there forever. I mean, you go around a bend and there's a great marble staring you in the eye and it's about to spew all over you. Like that game was great.
And one thing that I try to remember too is that when I'm watching these quickenings and these summons, I'm like, dude, this was a PS2 game.
Yeah,
like that's really impressive for being PS2.
Yeah, I mean, as good as Zodiac Age looks, it was a very good looking PS2 game. Obviously, it came out near the end. I think even PS3 had launched or was about to launch when that one came out.
Yeah, I think it was a few months out from launching. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of time they're like, hey, maybe it should have been pushed back to PS3. I'm glad they didn't. And of course, the architecture was so different between those systems, they couldn't have done that. But I had a great time with it. I even had like the special edition for a minute. It was it was a very beloved title, and every bit. I've seen people hate on it, and I don't understand that. And I can only assume that they were like me at first, and they didn't give it a proper chance because it's easily top 5.
I totally agree. I know Ryan would tell you that this game was slowly climbing to being his favorite because how much he loves Star Wars and how much it reminded him of Star Wars.
That's really interesting. Like, I mean, obviously the parallels are there, and I can see somebody saying that. I think that's maybe where if you come in later in the series, you would say, and it's so good because that is the last great Final Fantasy that we've gotten. 14 not excluded because it isn't MMO, but so much better than the games that came after it. It's not even funny.
Yeah, we can only hold out hope for 16. Well, I will end on this, sir. And
okay.
I'm going to say it dirty, but I'll let you clean it up a little bit if you'd like.
Okay.
Fuck, marry, kill. Fran, Ash, Pinello. What you got?
Okay. Rephrase it. How do somebody I need to get rid of?
Yeah, if you got if you want to bang one, you want to marry one, and then one you just want to you could get rid of.
Oh no, it's you're definitely banging Fran because you can't bring home a rabbit lady to mom and dad. And Pinello was definitely the homebody that you'd settle down with, and Vaughn, who cares?
True enough.
But I thought Fran was a great character. The more she got like loosened up, it was like, wow, I'm glad that they brought like a different race, into the party and they give a whole different experience.
Yeah. I was really excited for people who were big fans of 12 when they added Viera to the Final Fantasy 14 races.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
The only issue with the Viera, and then they added the Hrothgar, which are basically like Kimari's race from 10. The only problem with them is a lot of helmets like don't work with them, so like they just don't show the helmet animations, and you can't really change hairstyles for those characters. So you'll see Viera and Hrothgar in the game, but you don't see them as often as you would see the other races because people like to what they call glamour, make themselves look cool.
I see. So it's not one of those games where you can equip a helmet but just not show it.
Oh yeah. You'll have the helmet equipped. It's just they won't show on your character because they didn't animate it or whatever.
No, I do that with a lot of games, so that's fine.
Yeah. Certain games I like to see see your face. That's one thing about Skyrim. I wish you could equip a helmet that was invisible if you wanted, so you could have your character's face.
Yeah, or like you could do that in and out of battle, something like that. Because it'd be kind of cool to have it when you're going up against an enemy, but if you're walking around town, you kind of look just silly.
Yeah, if somebody comments on how handsome you are and you're just like wearing an orcish helmet, you're just like, yeah. Yeah, I'm real handsome.
That's correct. You are right.
Well, all right, brother, man. I appreciate you coming on and talking to me about this. Everybody, again, go check out the JRPG Report podcast every week. Drops on Thursdays?
That's correct. Yeah, it's and sometime in the afternoon I usually get around to it.
Yeah. And then every once in a while, you might catch me on a Sunday special or something.
Yeah. I mean, of course, you were on there last week with our big Nintendo Direct show, so we had a lot of fun doing that. And every couple months or so, I bring you on and we just chat about the greatest genre of all time, right?
Absolutely, man. There's nothing that I love more, and Ryan hates walls of text, so he's got a long ride ahead of him, sir.
Oh man, yeah, he's in for it.
All right, man. I really appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Dalton, and I will talk to you again soon.
All right, now I'm going to throw back to my future self now. Peace.
Future self. We were time travelers.
All right, we're supposed to be back now, but I'm going to go ahead and say, you know what that felt like? Do you remember that episode of Seinfeld when Kramer's got the Merv Griffin set in his apartment, and he just tells them, all right, after this commercial break, and there's no one there, and they're just sitting there, and Kramer reaches down, sips his Coke, eats some chips, and is like, all right, we're back. That's what that felt like. But yeah, we are back here, and I want to thank James again for coming on and doing the interview. I know you had no power, so you weren't able to do much of anything yesterday, but we appreciate him coming on. Check out the JRPG Report. He's the man. He's a funny dude. The JRPG Report is safe for you to listen to around your children. Keep us for nighttime. Listen to the JRPG Report during the day, because it's good, clean family fun, and you will get all the news that you need about any of the JRPG stuff or stuff coming out of Japan that you might be interested in. So, good sir, Final Fantasy XII. I rolled credits on it. I know you didn't quite get there.
No, I didn't make it much further than where we left off last episode, unfortunately.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you have work and 2 kids and a life.
Yeah, a couple 13-hour days and 2 kids, It gets there, but soon taxes are coming back. You know what that means. I'm going to have a shiny new PC to play with, and
yeah,
that's probably going to entice me to do some more stuff.
Real quick, R.I.P. John Huber. Because anytime I hear, you know what that means now, it just makes me sad.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Quickly, before we get into what we thought about the ending, or what I thought about the ending of Final Fantasy XII and your kind of thoughts on it, shout out to our Patreon, the Cog, Mr. Nate. I forgot to give him a shout out at the last episode because this is new to me, and I felt really bad about it. He told me he didn't even notice, but I noticed. So I'm going to give you a shout out now, and I'm going to give you a shout out at the end of the episode because you the man. You the man, Nate. So I think last time we wrapped up, I was talking about that I was going to go ahead and try to do all the hunts. I did. I got every hunt done. Everyone. And,
damn,
brother, let me fucking tell you. The last one took me to have to go and get all of my characters to max level. By the time I was done, all of my characters were level 99. I had all of their license. I got every license on both their boards. I got all of the espers and the side espers.
Wow.
Or not side espers, but the optional espers. I had them all, and I did all of the hunts. The final hunt is called Yasmat. I know I talked about this with James, but the listeners can bear with me for a minute. It's like Yasmat. And, dude, this thing had, I think, 56 million health, 53 million health, something like that. It had its life bar, and then it had, 30 life bars under it.
Jesus Christ.
So, that fight... Now, I had my gambits set up to where I wasn't worried about it. As soon as somebody died, the other 2, one of them was throwing a phoenix down and getting them rezzed immediately, right? So I had a YouTube video up. I think I was watching Chris Davis on YouTube do a review of Elder Scrolls or something. I don't remember, but it was a long lore-filled type video and gameplay. And I put it on 4 times speed and just let the game play for that boss fight, right? Over 20 minutes.
Wow.
On 4 times speed.
Wow.
It took for this boss to fucking die. And a couple times I had to reach over and grab the controller, and because all of my people had died, so I had to switch somebody in and then get some resin going, so then I had my people back up.
Wow.
While that took a long time, I did have the Yagyu Dark Blade, which is a special weapon that you can find inside of the Great Crystal when you're going through that shit, which is my least favorite part of the game. I remembered that was the point. Well, I'll get there in a second. But so as hard as that fight was, even though I had the Dark Blade that did more damage to it, and then I had the Genji glove, I had the whole Genji armor set that I had stolen from Gilgamesh. God, that's I forgot his name when I was doing the thing with James too, Gilgamesh, and went and fought the Omega. I think it's like the Omega Mark 12 is what it's called. It's the hardest side boss in the game. I ran to it once in the Great Crystal because it's buried deep in the Great Crystal, and it was just standing there. And I ran around it, and nothing happened, and I left. Waited till I got a little bit later in the game, ran back to it. It was just sitting there, and I ran around it. Nothing happened. So at this point, I'm like, all right, fool me once, fool me twice. Now I'm fucking looking it up. So you had to beat all of the hunts and then accept Yzmat as your accept the final hunt, and then once you did that, you could go fight Omega. So I went ahead and killed Yzmat, took care of that, finished all the hunts, got the trophy, yada yada yada. Then I went to Omega Mark again, and when I walked into his zone, he was standing up ready to go. And this fight took me 16 tries.
Wow.
At max level. Because this fucking thing's got, when you get it down to maybe 20% health, his life bar's about yay big. He starts doing this move that would one-shot everybody.
Wow.
And my people couldn't keep up with healing enough to, healing and Phoenix Downs, just trying to do it. They couldn't. It would be like one would die, a Phoenix Down would get thrown. By the time that person rezzed up, the other 2 were dead. And then that person would throw a Phoenix Down, and then as that person rezzed, that person was dead. And it just became this cycle of using Phoenix Downs, and then eventually he'd just kill everybody.
Yeah.
So I had to really think about how I was going to do this, right? So I thought the only thing that saved my ass is there is a spell in the game called Reverse. And when you cast that spell on your player, it switches healing and damage. So like heals would hurt you and damage heals you. That is the only way I got through that last bit. I had a gambit set up, and I switched it on whenever he got to like 30% health. So that my mages would keep reverse up on everybody. And I think I had a couple reverse motes that I had found throughout the game, so like I even tried to use those and was able to beat him. Now I didn't get the achievement because I was playing offline because you were playing at the moment too, but I want it to be known I beat that motherfucker. I beat the hardest side boss in the game. God damn it. It took me 16 tries, but I beat it on the 17th.
16 tries.
Yeah. The 17th try was my lucky number this time. So, after all of that, I go to the final area, the Sky Fortress of Bahamut.
Yeah.
I go in. There's some cutscenes that play, and basically, like, Vayne and Larsa are standing there, and Vayne tells you basically that he's going to have to kill you. You've gotten in his way. And then he tells Larsa to stand aside or join him or something, and then Vayne turns, and Larsa's got his sword pointed at Vayne. And he's like, no, brother, I will not join you. I cannot back this cause. I loved Larsa's voice actor. I don't know who it was, but kudos to them. They did a really good job. So he joins you, and then you have to fight Vayne. Now, think about the 2 fights previous that I told you about. How long do you think it took me to beat Vayne?
Oh, man. It took you, like, 5 minutes.
10 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
10 seconds. I went in, it started, and my dudes ran in. Vaughn hit with a 2-hit combo. Balthier had the Genji gloves, which makes you attack combo more often. So I ran in. Bosch was hitting like a fucking madman because he had the Excalibur, which is the best 2-handed sword. So he walks in, hits Vayne for like 20,000, right? Just boom. Vaughn does a 2-hit combo. Balthier does a 4-hit combo. Larsa hits him. Bosch hits him again. dead.
Damn.
Boss fight over, right? So then because you don't have to take him all the way down. You take him to a certain point, and then it goes to a cutscene, and he gets like overtaken with this nasty nethicite energy that you've been dealing with throughout the entire game, and he becomes Hulk Hogan Vayne. He's fucking Ultimate Warrior jacked, like roided to the fucking gills, Lex Luger style, just bruh. And then you got to fight him again, and that took me about 45 seconds. Like,
you could write him up all you want. Vade's still a bitch.
Yeah, still a bitch. And then you beat him, and he goes walking out of the building, and before you get to him, you have to fight Gabranth again, which is Bosch's twin brother that did all that shit in the beginning. And you basically realize that Gabranth isn't necessarily a bad dude. It's just he swore to protect Lord Larsa, so he would do anything to protect that family type thing, right? But then he realized Vayne is a fucking psychopath and is attacking Larsa, so he tries to attack Vayne, and Vayne just whoosh knocks his ass back. And at that point is when, in the cutscene, Vaughn grabs this sword and just runs up like, yeah, and just nails Vayne with it, and he goes flying down this fucking staircase. Even in his roided self, you know what I mean? He just goes flying down and lands. And Bosch kneels down by his brother and is like, we'll be back for you. So then you go outside, and it shows a cutscene of him walking, and he's talking to Venat, which is that weird ghostly thing that would be behind him. You know what I mean? And there's a whole council, I'll call it, of those that you guys go and meet with, and they tell you that you must destroy the Dawn Shard, Dusk Shard, one of the two. I think it's the Dusk Shard. That you must take this. They give you a new sword because you went and got the sword from that one dungeon where she was supposed to hit the rock and didn't. But they give you a new sword, and they're like, use this, motherfucker, and this will help you. So Vayne's walking, and he tells Venat, like, I'm sorry I failed you. I am no Dynast King. You must find someone else to help you finish off your task, basically. And Venat tells him, oh no, you helped me far more than you know. Like, the Dust Shard's destroyed now. The fate of man is back in man's hands. So, like, basically, don't worry about it. We'll go out with this together. So they go and they take over this fucking massive cannon. I don't even know how to describe. It's a big fucking huge cannon thing, right? Yeah. And I'm thinking, oh, this is the last boss. This is going to be fucking epic. And I beat it in like 35 seconds. Maybe a minute. Because I was just so jacked up from doing all the fucking hard side quests.
Because you maxed out your characters and the game's only like buffed it to stop at like level 65 or some shit like that.
I think the final boss was like level 60. Yeah, I just wrecked it. Yeah. Absolutely wrecked it.
Yeah.
But it was satisfying because it was like, no, I earned that. I didn't cheat.
Yeah, you did by doing all of the hunts and all the side quests. Yeah, you earned that.
Yeah. I would like to... spoiler, you would like to keep this on the list because you want to beat it at some point. I'm cool with that because I would like to replay through it and not miss all the side quests that I did miss because I missed a bunch before I started paying attention to them. Now, the hunts are separate. You can do those at any time, but there are side quests that if you progress too far in the story, you can't complete them. You can start them, but you won't be able to complete them.
Wow.
In fact, there was one side quest with the one you said was Kitten. Mm-hmm. I got all the way to the last part. If I had to talk to her one more time, I'd have completed her quest, but I never got a chance to because I had gotten too far before I started it.
Wow.
So, there's that. But the ending cutscene is really, really a cool one. Very well animated. Bosch has taken over Galbranth's position in guarding Lord Larsa, who is now, presiding over that. Now that Vayne's dead, he now is the ruler of the Empire. And you get the idea that the Empire is a much nicer thing now that Larsa is in charge. Like, he's not bloodthirsty. He was a very intelligent young man, if I do put it that way.
That's good.
He gets a letter, or the letter, like everything that you're hearing is supposedly a letter that was written to, I don't know if it was Larsa or Bosch from Pinello. But Pinello is just like, it's been a year since everything happened. Or 6 months, and everything's back to normal in Rabanastre like it was before the war and before her parents died. Everything's back to normal. And she's got some tattoos on her arms of like these flower-looking stuff. It looks badass. And I'm like, where was that during the rest of the game? Like, she looks cool as shit, right?
Right.
So her and Vaughn are still there. They said that they were taking care of the Strahl for a while, which was the ship, the airship.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, but then we went in there one day and it was stolen. And then there was this floating crystal with a note. And unfortunately, one of the mods I was using to up-res the game made the captions not work. So I didn't get to actually see what the translation was of this letter.
Yeah.
But it was implied that she was like, well, I guess you can't really steal it if you're the owner, huh? So, like, Balthier and Fran just, like, came and got their ship and left. Right? But they were, like, they trained Vaughn to be a sky pirate. They were all going to go meet together. Vaughn's now got his own little airship. And it shows Bosch reading the letter because Lady Ash misses him very much.
He becomes a baby sky pirate?
Yeah, so, and I think there's a love thing between Bosch and Ash.
Yeah.
So it shows Bosch holding this ring. I think it was him holding this ring. And then he goes over to talk to Larsa, and then it flashes over to Ash, and she's standing there in like her royal get-up, and she opens her hand, and there's a ring in her hand. So it made me think, oh, okay, there's probably a connection there. And that's basically the end. It's a happily ever after, right? So really cool ending. But my opinions on the story is that I hope in my lifetime this game gets the same treatment that Final Fantasy VII is getting right now, where they're doing the remake, but they're fleshing out more of the story. Like, instead of the remake of Final Fantasy VII being the entire game, it's just Midgar, which is, like, part of one disc.
Yeah.
Because I think the story in 12, while being pretty good, and it reminded me a lot of Star Wars, and I mean, dude, there was an airship battle at the end of this cutscene that looked straight out of the Clone Wars. It was fucking awesome. But I think the story could have been fleshed out more. Like, why was the Empire hated so much? I think we touched on that a little bit last week. Like, why, like, or, you know, go deeper into the stories of the characters and stuff. Like, I just hope that eventually that this game will get the credit that I think the credit is due for it. Because this game's an outlier for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't look at this fondly. There's a lot of people who think that this is the game that started the death of Final Fantasy.
You're going to be waiting a while for a remaster of a remaster. But I don't know why, like, people start, like you are saying that, people online are saying this was, like, the start of the death of Final Fantasy. Like, from where I did get into this game, I really enjoyed it. I thought the storyline was actually really good. Like,
yeah. And, you know, it's a thing where, and I know James would be upset to hear me say this, but, like, turn-based works, and I love turn-based games, don't get me wrong. But games have to evolve. I guess the exception for that would be Dragon Quest, because that game has been the same formula for years, and it's fantastic, I'm not going to lie.
yeah.
But Final Fantasy chose to go a different way, and I think that that really divided the fan base. And my response to that is, if you want to play Final Fantasy games, then keep playing them. If you want to play a turn-based RPG, go play Dragon Quest. It's the same company, same quality. They're both fantastic series. It's just, what are you looking for? You know?
Yeah.
12 is a great game. I would put it up there. It's like a single MMO. It's like a single-player MMO. That's what it reminds me of as far as the battle
Yeah,
style.
no, that's definitely, like, what I got from, like, the very beginning of the game. I'm like, oh, this plays like an MMO. But
Yeah, they took things from 11, I think, which was their first MMO, and, you know, just took ideas and put them into this, and I think it worked really well. I do. Combat got repetitive to me at the end, but I think it's because I was so high level that it was just more of a nuisance to run into fucking monsters than anything.
yeah, you're like, God damn it, this again? It's like grinding through Pokemon after you've already gone through, like, all the gyms, and you have to hit the old routes again to complete your Pokédex.
Yes. Oh my God, bro. Speaking of, now, listeners, I'm going to trust you right now, because I would like this not to get taken off the internet, but Fit Girl has been releasing repacks of Switch games bundled with a Switch emulator.
Oh.
And they work. And it's fucking cool. Like, I was playing Pokemon on my PC, and it was rad. and it runs pretty smooth too. Like there's obviously it's new, so like there are some graphical issues here and there, especially usually in cutscenes. Like they'll kind of be glitchy, but the gameplay itself seems pretty fucking smooth, and I'm enjoying it. All of the games that I've gotten, and I'm not just saying this. All of the games that have been out there for download that I have gotten are games that I actually own.
Yeah.
Just to avoid any issues, you know what I mean? In case they come up. But Animal Crossing is another one that works. And even though I won't be able to go visit other people's islands, like I didn't do that much anyway.
Yeah.
Like I would visit yours if you know you needed some help or some fruits or anything, and vice versa. But for me, just like at 4:00 in the morning and I can't sleep, if I can just like load up Pokemon or. I mean, I could do that with the Switch too, but it's just convenient.
You could just grab the Switch. Like, it is portable.
Yeah, but it's just convenient to have it all on one little thing.
Yeah, I get that.
So
since you completed 12, how many Moogles?
I was gonna say Moogles. Yeah. I was about to say Moogles. So
how many goddamn chocobos would you rate this game?
How many damn chocobos? I'd give it 8.5.
8.5.
8.5. Room for improvement, but damn good.
Yeah, no, that's essentially what I would say. From where I'm through the game, I'd probably put it at like a 7.75.
Yeah, I really I liked the ending cutscene. I thought it was a heartfelt little ending, and that definitely knocked it up a half a point for me. Because some games' endings just kind of fall flat. You know what I mean? Don't really answer much. And now, if that's the theme of the game, then whatever, that's all good. But I don't know. But I do want to touch on the Great Crystal, because you didn't get to it. Now, that is the point in the game on the PS2, back when I was young, that I would always get up to and say, you know what? Fuck this, and quit. Because it is a giant dungeon with multiple rooms and paths, and it's real easy to get lost.
Yeah.
And this time, I did use a map, and that's how I was able to find everything I needed. But without the map, that's one of the worst fucking dungeon designs I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's why this game is not a higher rank, is because that particular dungeon sucks so much dick. And that's the place I ran in there 3 different times trying to find Omega, and like, God, and getting there's a pain in the ass. And then once you get there, you have to go through all these fucking tunnels, and you have to go to certain areas to hit a switch, and then you have to run back to the gate that you need to touch in the time limit that they give you for the switch to be on, and there's might be 2 gates, and you have to decide which one you're going to open what path you want to go down. Dude, it's hardcore. Absolutely. It's fucking terrible. But everything after that was cool. Pharos was cool. Hunting XII in there was pretty sweet. I think it was Pharos. No, that might have been the... No. Yeah, it was in there. Because it had the levels. And then I did everything to go down to the very bottom and fight the Shade Seer, which... That was interesting. It was a boss fight where it summoned the last 4 hunts that you had killed.
Wow.
So, like, all the elite hunts, they summoned those. You had to fight them one by one and then fight the Shade Seer. It was pretty intense. But by that point, it was not bad for me because,
What if you had to do that last hunt all over again?
Do what?
If it summoned, like, the last 4 hunts, it was the very last hunt.
Oh, no. That was, this was the one before. You had to beat this one to be able to accept Yasmat.
Yeah.
And the story of Yasmat was cool because it was like Monteblanc, the guy that runs the guild, was just like, this thing killed my master. And the group of us split up and haven't been together since it killed our master. And no one's been able to destroy this thing. So you go out and do it, and then it's like it brings together all these Moogles that haven't been together in years, and they all thank you for avenging their master and stuff. It was a cool little scene. But yeah, man, that wraps up Final Fantasy 12
for now.
For now. I'll leave it on the list for you, sir. Now, we need to sort out what we are playing next. I had already run Steamy and got my time at Portia.
Yeah.
I also feel like playing Planet Zoo. And then a part of me wants to run it again. So, I think what I'm going to do...
I'm down for Planet Zoo. That's like a game that isn't going to really, like, require my, like, a super amount of attention, like Final Fantasy 12. So that's a game that I can kind of just, like, throw on my lap at bedtime and zone out for a couple hours with, like I used to do with The Sims.
Yeah,
but if you want to run it again, you can.
I'm thinking. Because we could play My Time at Portia, but I'm just like, I don't know if I feel like playing that right now because I'm already doing Valheim with the group, and it's like a crafting game and then another crafting game. I don't want to craft myself out. That's all. Oh, Steamy says...
Another crafting game.
No, he actually said Red Dead Redemption 2, but you can't play that yet, so let's run that one more time.
No, not yet. God, it really wants me to play that. That's the second time that's come up already.
Yeah, it has. Okay, you can't play that one either. God damn, it's picking all these games that have high graphical things, and I'm like, no, we can't do those yet.
Planet Zoo it is.
Yeah, let's just do Planet Zoo, because it picked... let's just do Planet Zoo this week. And then next week we will see if Steamy will be a little nicer to you, particularly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be Planet Zoo. I look forward to that. I installed that last night and was just like, man, this could be a cool game for the week because I don't think we've really covered anything quite like that yet, and I could use something relaxing.
Yeah, for sure.
I've been having a rough time lately. So yeah, it'll be fun. Shout out to Nate once again, my man. He is our first COG member of the Patreon. And that reminds me. Next week, we're going to do another Patreon episode. And I put it out there that I would like to do a Q&A segment as part of that. So I think I posted it on the Facebook and the Discord and on Patreon itself. If you would like to leave anything, ask us about ourselves.
Any
it doesn't have to
Q&As or any like stupid internet challenges you want to see me or Dalton suffer through.
Okay, let's preface that. Internet challenges to do with maybe food because I don't want to put Gorilla Glue on my dick.
Yeah, food challengers.
But yeah, for sure. You want to see us do a one chip challenge and then try to answer a quiz about a game we both love? Like that would be fun. That would be fun. Maybe bring Corinne in to ask us the questions while we suffer.
Right.
Other than that, man, just shoot us some questions. You want to get to know us, things maybe about our lives. It doesn't necessarily have to be about gaming. So hit us with whatever, man, and we will touch up on that on the next Patreon episode, along with whatever else we decide to do for it. And, I guess I'm going to go ahead and plug this. I released another new album, if anybody would like to get it. It'll probably be the last one for a while. It's 24 songs, $10. nowthenightmare.bandcamp.com. I really enjoy it. I've listened to it 3 or 4 times, and I'm thoroughly satisfied with it. So there's not a song on there that I'm like, maybe I could have left that off, which has happened on some of the other ones. But I really enjoyed it. So if you're interested, check it out. You can listen to some of the tracks for free on the album, on the site. And if you decide that you like it, that might help me fix some of the problems in my kitchen, so that'd be rad. Patreon.com/The Steam Machine Podcast. If you want to hop over there, that would be cool too. We do content strictly for that, and I'm going to try to start uploading some more stuff on there, even if it's just me and I have a thought and I get on there and rant about it while Ryan's at work. And he's welcome to rant about something as well and throw it up there, or just get on there and talk. Might start doing maybe video and putting it up there, but we'll see. We'll see what the demand is for that, because I don't think anybody's mentioned that yet. That was just an idea that I had.
Yeah.
If you would like to find us on social media, you can go to facebook.com/Steam Machine Podcast or twitter.com, and it is Steam_podcast. I had to think about it there for a second. I always think about like twitter.com. You could just, or the Twitter app, whatever, Twitter. Find us on Twitter.
Yeah.
Don't have an Instagram, but thinking about starting up one. Don't know quite what the hell we would post on there, but it's just more social media to get out there. I have given up on uploading YouTube for right now. I will get back to that eventually. That is just very time consuming. Very time consuming. And I think that's about it, man. thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. You guys rock.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And next week, Planet Zoo. So let's go see what we can build, man.
Right.
Also see if we can maybe wreak some havoc. We'll see what goes.
We'll see.
All right. Well, that's it for this week's Steam Machine podcast, man. We love you all. He's Ryan. I'm Dalton. And as always, take it easy.